England fans were in fine voice ahead of the game with the USA, although singing the newly revised national anthem God Save the King instead of God Save the Queen may take some getting used to. It was the best of both worlds for this group. They were watching their home squad from a game somewhere that's 70 degrees and sunny instead of 50 degrees and cold like it is in England right now.
How is it to be in San Diego during the World Cup?
Yeah, pretty good, good atmosphere. A bit early in the morning, but yeah, otherwise good, yeah.
Proper fish and chips were also in plentiful supply at Shakespeare's just in case the England faithful were feeling a little homesick. And then there were those caught in the middle, having been born in the States but with family back in England.
I'm half English, half American, so grew up here but was raised supporting England. So I'm a little torn, but I have to go with who my mom supported growing up.
Now, things might look pretty quiet right now, but let me tell you that at 5 a.m. this morning, this was teeming with people just lining up, hoping to get in here to watch the England game.
And to cope with the deluge of tea-loving Brits, the owners at Shakespeare had to call in extra help.
We've definitely had to hire more staff. We've had to hire additional security.
Well, the final score, a goalless draw, could be best likened to a wet weekend in Whitby for England fans. This basically translates to the result being like a rainy vacation, leaving these supporters deflated.
Not great, depressed.
The one time in the States and we lose, it feels like a loss, to be fair.
Yeah.
We might as well have lost.
Played awful.
And with that, England fans have just a few days to G themselves back up, just in time for their team's clash with Wales on Tuesday. Claire Strong, KPBS News. Lisa St. John's a real-life Santa Claus. She's determined to make Christmas happen for around 200 Liberian schoolchildren by raising $4,000 to buy presents. There are no iPhones or Xboxes on their list to Santa, though, just everyday items that we take for granted.
What these children get for Christmas is not what we're accustomed to. They don't receive a wrapped toy. It's used clothes in a trash bag.
Lisa's passion for helping underprivileged kids from Liberia started in 2018 when she fostered Obadiah, who was 8 years old at the time.
He had a large malformation on his face, and he was 8 years old, so his whole life he'd lived in this very, very poor country where he was treated with witch doctors and suffered a lot of bullying because of his appearance. But he is so smart and so talented and funny, and I think he got through all of that due to his sense of humor.
Obadiah needed a family to look after him while he underwent surgery at Rady's Children's Hospital. So Lisa and her husband John stepped up to the plate.
This is Obadiah's bed. He slept here. It wasn't anywhere near this clean when he lived here.
Obadiah is now living back in Liberia after completing his medical treatment in the US. But Lisa wanted to do more, so she set up the Liberian Perseverance Foundation. The non-profit has raised enough money to send Obadiah and his siblings to a modest boarding school, where they receive an education, regular meals, and beds to sleep in. All things they didn't have before.
There's hundreds of kids that are at this school, and I say boarding school, it's not what we have here. It is bare bones. The education is not great, but it's an education.
The charity also provides students with essentials like food, clothing, and school supplies. They've also bought the school a gas stove to cook on instead of using a hole in the ground.
Thank you for the people like giving the school fees. Thank you so much. And thank you the people that are going here. Thank you for paying the place. Thank you.
Lisa hopes the charity will eventually be able to raise enough cash to buy some land so the community can grow their own food and raise livestock. For now, though, Lisa's Christmas wish is for people in San Diego to give what they can so Obadiah and his friends feel a little extra love this festive season. Claire Strong, KPBS News. The face you're looking at is that of Marcy Amini, who died in Iran after being arrested by the country's morality police just for wearing the wrong thing. The 22-year-old's death sparked protests around the world and has brought back some painful memories for Iranian-born Parisa, who now calls San Diego home.
I am really sad. There is no day that goes by and I'm not crying.
Parisa, who asked us not to use her last name out of fear of repercussions, knows just what it's like to be a woman in Iran. She says she felt half human growing up there just because she was a girl. Parisa fled Iran for her own safety and now wears a T-shirt in memory of Mahsa Amini.
They jailed her and she died under their watch. And after that, there is an uprising during these past 70 days that Iran's young men and women are out and they are shouting for their basic rights.
Iran's inclusion in the World Cup has angered Parisa, who believes that FIFA should have banned the country from taking part in the competition. And soccer is something very close to Parisa's heart. She loved the sport as a child, but had to disguise herself as a boy just so that she could play alongside her brothers. Parisa never even got the chance to see her brother play professionally, as women were banned from soccer stadiums. I asked her how it felt not to be able to cheer him on.
It was awful. I felt like I'm in a jail in my body, and my brother was my hero. And, I loved soccer, and we played together. And when he went up and he became a soccer player, I thought I have this equal chance. I could have been, but because being in Iran at the time, girls, they didn't have a team and I couldn't play.
Well, last week, the US Soccer Federation showed its support for protesters in Iran by posting the Iranian flag on social media without the Islamic Republic emblem. But Parisa wants far more to be done by the US government.
Please do not make deal with them in any sort of deal. And please do not just treat them as a normal government, because this government, they have no mercy for their own people. When they kill their own people, just imagine if they have any power, what they are going to do, especially when it comes to nuclear power.
While Iran's World Cup journey may be over following their 1-0 defeat to the USA earlier today, but the fight for Iranian women to be treated as human by their own government continues. Parisa says she'll keep making her voice heard until being born a girl in Iran doesn't mean a death sentence for women there. Claire Strong, KPBS News. Meet 13-year-old Misha. The dance studio he attends in Miramar is a safe space for the teenager who dreams of turning professional one day. It's a far cry from war-torn daily life back in Ukraine. Misha, along with his parents and sister, fled to the US via San Diego in August with all their worldly possessions packed into suitcases. Russian bombs destroyed their hometown of Zaporizhia, along with their peaceful life there. And with Christmas just days away, Misha's feeling a long way from home.
He misses his friends, he misses a little bit his city, and he misses a little bit relatives.
Moving to San Diego has been a tough transition for Misha, especially because of the language barrier. But he's one of the lucky ones. Dance studio owner and fellow Ukrainian Olga Ginsburg read about his family's plight on Facebook and brought them to stay with her in San Diego. She fled Ukraine 2 decades ago with nothing more than the clothes on her back after her father was killed.
To leave your friends, to leave your school, to leave your dance studio, to leave everything that you are used to it, to somewhere and start from the zero, when you had, let's put it this way, a good life there, and you come and you don't know what to expect.
The United Nations estimates at least 12 million Ukrainians have been forced to leave their homes since the Russian invasion began back in February. And it's been particularly stressful for Misha's mum, Natalia. The family had a comfortable life back in Ukraine and owned a successful construction company. But now she's resigned to the fact they may never be able to return.
As a mom, it has been obviously extremely stressful to see all the changes and all the things they went through. However, she is grateful for the situation they're in particularly, because they've been lucky enough for her son to come here to find this studio to do his favorite thing that he likes to do, and then brings her joy.
Despite the pain of being so far away from home this festive season, a miracle is on the horizon for the family. They've managed to help Natalia's mum, Valentina, escape from Ukraine, and she's due to arrive in San Diego just in time for Christmas. And while most kids will be hoping to wake up to presents on December the 25th, Misha wants something that money can't buy.
For the war to be over.
Claire Strong, KPBS News.
I've been making this letter for the kids, just to give them a little surprise and make their day.
Jason and his classmates at Del Mar Hills Academy are hoping to put smiles on the faces of children less fortunate than themselves this holiday season. They're writing handmade Christmas cards in Spanish to kids in Baja, California who've been orphaned or abandoned.
I think it's really nice because we're showing that we care about them and that there are people who are thinking of them.
Once finished, the cards will be sent to Corazon de Vida, a non-profit which provides funding to more than 10 Mexican orphanages. The charity covers the cost of food, shelter and higher education for around 500 children in Baja.
Mi escuela se llama.
6th grade Spanish teacher Andrew Burke is leading the Christmas card project.
I think one of the coolest things about world languages as just a subject is the ability to connect with people from different cultures. And by writing the letters, the students share a little bit about themselves, their interests, where they're from, their families. And it's just a nice way to connect with people who you, on the surface, you might not think that you have much in common.
As well as the Christmas cards, almost 2 carloads of school supplies are also heading to the orphans. It's been a joint effort between Del Mar Hills and 2 other 6th grade classes in the district. Back in the classroom, and students are putting the finishing touches to their cards.
I think it's a pretty good idea because they might look at these and think that someone's thinking about them, and that people know that they're there and that they're struggling, and it might influence them to stay in school and get a good job.
Just small acts of kindness that these 6th graders hope will make a big difference this Christmas. Claire Strong, KPBS News.
Safety is the #1 priority.
Gather safely and travel safely. That's the message to New Year's Eve revelers in San Diego who have been urged to take advantage of free public transportation on Saturday instead of getting behind the wheel. It's part of a county-wide program between the Metropolitan Transit System, North County Transit District, and law enforcement agencies.
So we have free parking at all of our stations, so that's one, hopefully, inconvenience that's solved. Also, when people get on, there will be, again, many schedules in terms of being able to have different stops. We have 7 different stations across the county, and so there are definitely frequent stops for folks to be able to get in and get out. And then, of course, if they go online, they can check out any of the other ways for them to get around in partnership with MTS.
Partygoers will be able to ride the trolley, train and bus free of charge after 6 p.m. from various locations across the county. New Year's Eve is traditionally one of the busiest nights of the year for DUIs, and extra police will be on duty to help monitor the county's roads.
New Year's Eve is a maximum enforcement period for us, so we have every available resource deployed for this weekend for maximum enforcement. We're going to be looking for distracted and DUI drivers to try to keep our roadways as safe as possible.
Electronic messaging boards displaying reminders about driving under the influence of drink and drugs have also been installed on roads throughout San Diego. And there's a reminder that prescription drugs and over-the-counter medicines can also impair people's ability to drive safely.
I think it's really cool that the city's doing that because it takes care of the people that are partying, but also the people that aren't partying too.
My dad's always like, don't drive on New Year's and New Year's Eve, so I think that would make all of us feel a lot safer.
In addition to reducing the number of drunk and drug-related car crashes on New Year's Eve, the program could also have a positive impact on local businesses. Restaurant and bar owners are hoping customers will order extra drinks, safe in the knowledge they won't have to drive home.
It gives our patrons and guests a place to come without worrying about drinking and driving, which is the #1 concern for all.
And partygoers will have more than enough time to ring in the new year, as the free public transportation will run way past 1 a.m. Claire Strong, KPBS News.